Despite playing video games since around about the age of 6, there have been a lot of classic games and franchises that have eluded me for one reason or another, one of which is a Mega Man franchise. You guys all know the history behind Mega Man, so I won't bore you with that, but what about my history with the franchise? Well, as I just said, the franchise eluded me for a good while, but only in part. You see, I grew up having Mega Man Battle Network merch, and I didn't really know it was a game franchise, and I just assumed it was a cartoon or an anime, which is partly true. A few years later I discovered that it was an actual game franchise when I was either gifted or just played Battle Network 5 on the DS. Since then I've wanted to give Mega Man a fair shake and I've not really had the chance, so today I'm going to be taking a look back at the first Mega Man game for the NES, but I'm going to be looking at the Mega Man Legacy Collection version for the Switch, but I'm not going to be using the rewind feature. With all of that nonsense out of the way, let's get stuck in.
Mega Man was released on the NES in December of 1987 to great critical reception but poor sales figures, at least when considering the NES original.
And despite the poor sales, the original Mega Man game kind of became a hit in a way and a pioneer in the platforming genre, but I'll get to why in a little bit. First, let's discuss that story. If you're looking for a fairly deep plot in a Mega Man game, you're going to be disappointed. At least in the classic series, but we'll cross those other bridges when we get there.
In the year 2000X lived two professors, Dr. Wily and Dr. Light, both of whom attend the same university. Dr. Light produces a bunch of robots who, at least on a subconscious level, are almost human. Among these robots are Rock and Roll, both of whom were specifically created to be lab assistants, while the rest were created to help with things such as manual labour. After Dr. Light begins to see notoriety, Dr. Wily begins to grow jealous and as a result decides to kidnap 6 of Dr. Wily's creations and plans to use them to take over the world. Wait, what the fuck? Rock then decides to step in and volunteers to be transformed into the super fighting robot Mega Man to save Dr. Wily's creations, as well as putting an end to Dr. Wily's evil schemes. As a result of Dr. Wily's bitch fit, you're tasked with going through these stages and defeating the bosses, who are called Robot Masters, individually, which is pretty standard stuff for a platformer. But then you reach a stage select screen and you realise you can fight any Robot Master you want, in any order you want.
This type of freedom is something we take for granted in modern video games, but at the time, Mega Man's blatant disregard for standardised linearity made it a standout platformer and kind of added it to the conversation when it came to platforming greats such as Mario and Sonic.
So you choose the Robot Master, jump into the level, and then you realise something. This game is fucking hard. Not impossibly hard by any means, but still challenging enough to the point where you'll have a decent amount of trouble with the game.
People like to overhype the original Mega Man game as being hard, and while it kind of is, it doesn't really get that hard until a little further on in the game. But more on that in a sec.
With the freedom of choosing any stage that you please that I mentioned earlier, you'd assume that there'd just have to be a caveat. And you'd be right. The caveat in this situation being that every Robot Master, to a lesser extent every stage as well, operates on a rock, paper, scissors basis. What does this mean? Well, if you want any hope of beating a certain Robot Master, you have to defeat a different one first in order to receive their weakness. Oh yeah, there's another way Mega Man innovated. Once you beat a boss, you get their powers. Again, not some super impressive innovation by today's standards, but for the time, well, it was leaps and bounds ahead of the time. It was the next natural progression not only for platformers, but video games as a whole. Many video games spanning many video game generations would adopt similar policies, oftentimes putting their own little unique spin on it.
Okay, innovation is all well and good, but if the controls don't function properly in a platformer, it can be as innovative as it wants, but it's still going to be a fucking stinker, and I'm glad to report that the controls are pretty good. Most of the time.
Don't get me wrong, the platforming is decent. It's occasionally slippery, but not unmanageable by any means. In small type platforming though, it's a different story.
Don't let my criticism fool you though. A lot of reviewers and people in general who have played this game like to make it out as if Mega Man's slightly slippery controls are almost game breaking, and that's just not the case. Is it annoying? Yes, of course it is, but in most instances you're not really affected by the at times slippery handling of Mega Man. But said platforming's not easy, it's an NES game for Christ's sake. You can't really get by bullshitting your way through stages, especially Wily's Fortress, but it's manageable if you have the chops.
Remember when I said people overhype Mega Man as being hard? Well, you could dispute that for most of the game, but the difficulty is undeniable in Wily's Fortress. This stage is like a gauntlet of sorts, testing almost all of what you've learned up until this point throughout the game, and throwing some new challenges your way too.
One thing that makes this stage infinitely more annoying is the bosses.
You see some of the Robot Masters you defeat come back and they can be easily disposed of if you remember the weakness, but then you have the Yellow Devil. I'll let you take a wild guess what I did with this boss, and then you have this weird little bubble thing. It's by no means impossible to beat, but it's still annoying and I'd rather it not exist so I can actually get a break for once in a while, but oh well. And then finally you come across Dr. Wily and he's a pushover. well a pushover when compared to most of the other bosses, and even stages in this game for that matter. So you beat Wily, he begs for forgiveness, Mega Man lets him live, and the day is saved.
So that's the basic gist of Mega Man 1. Is it a fantastic experience? Fuck no, are you fucking retarded?
For anyone who wants to try the classic Mega Man series, I'd probably recommend playing any other entry, because from what I can understand they're leaps and bounds ahead of this game, which makes sense. Despite the revolutionary status this game may hold, it's not exactly heaps of fun. At the best of times it's just pretty fun, but suffers from any lack of real challenge or difficulty that isn't brought about by bullshit level design and enemy placement, and just overall archaic design philosophies that have aged as well as the video for cameos word up. Also, you may have noticed I didn't mention the graphics and sound in this review, and both are fine I guess, but knowing what's to come in the future, I can't exactly say the sound and visuals hold up. The graphics are good and work for what the developers are trying to put across, but the colours just seem washed out and kinda dreary, but the sprites kind of have a level of charm to them, which is nice. As for the sound design, it's fine, nothing amazing, but honestly it's still a good listen for what it is. But it's all outshone by the music of its successors by a country mile.
With all of the flaws present, you'd assume it's hard for me to recommend this game to you guys, and you'd be kinda right. The original Mega Man game is a game you play for the historical significance, or just to see where it all started, if anything. But even with all of the flaws present, it's still a pretty fun time. I don't know if I'd exactly recommend finishing the game though. If this game interests you, feel free to pick it up, specifically the Legacy Collection, because it's like 8 games in one, so it's a steal, and who knows, you might even get some enjoyment out of it. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, share, all of that good shit. It just gets me that one step closer to being able to do this as a job, which is ultimately what I want. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, I'll leave the handle here if I actually remember. And yeah, I've got some new reviews coming soon, but anyway, I've been XYZCruncher, stay cool, stay safe, stay crunchy, I'm out. Peace.